Please join me in a salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment's silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this public meeting has been delivered to the Star Ledger, News Tribune newspapers and posted on the Middlesex County website, as well as the Community Bulletin Board of the Middlesex County Administration Building at least 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Madam Secretary, could we have roll call?
Yes. Jason Friedman.
Here.
Commissioner Director Ronald Rios.
Here.
George Fowler, designated board member in place of Ron Sedner.
Here.
Hamant Patel.
Here.
Michael Kolbasowski.
Here.
Stephanie Kim Chohan.
Here.
Saket Chagalaval.
Here.
Alternate Gail Lala.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. All alternates are eligible to vote today.
Thank you. At this time, the meeting is open for public discussion on agenda items only. That is open for discussion to the public on agenda items only. Please approach the podium with your name and address, and you do have 5 minutes. Any member of the public wishing to speak?
Motion to close the public portion. I'll second.
Moved and second to close the public portion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. In your packet are the minutes for approval from October 8th, and a motion is in order.
Motion to approve. Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the minutes from October 8th. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Correspondence, we have none. That brings us to the planning director's report.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a report to present tonight, but once we get to the Vision Zero presentation, I'd just like to make a few opening remarks.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Old business, we have none. New business, we do have a proposed policy for site plan subdivision extensions. This is resolution 2024-10. It is in your packets, and a motion is in order unless we need some discussion or comments on the resolution.
Would you like me to give just a short overview?
Please.
Okay. So, board members, there's a draft resolution for you in your board packets on page 6 of the attachments. It's resolution 2024-10. We've talked about this a little bit before. On a monthly basis, the staff planners are asked to extend an application, either from developers, or we recommend an application be extended because we just don't have enough information to make an informed decision. But sometimes the extensions requests are keep coming month to month to month. We have some applications that have been granted 20 and more extensions on a monthly basis. The problem with that is, well, first it clogs up your agenda. You can see there were 9 on there today. And it requires staff every month to be vigilant about processing the applications, because you can't grant a 6-month extension or 1 year. It's month to month. And to follow up with the developer and to file the paperwork and prepare resolutions for your consideration. And of course it takes up your time and review them as well. There's also a clause, just so that you know, there's a clause in the County Enabling Act that if the board is required to act on applications within 30 days from receipt. And if there was an application, say if there was an extension that was pending, if for some reason, and it has not happened, I think it might have happened many, many years ago, it's under our radar. and action was not taken, the application is approved by default, according to the County Enabling Act. So there's a little bit of a risk there too. Why run a risk? Why do we keep staff working on applications month after month when it's still not a complete application or doesn't have the sufficient information? So Steve and I talked about this. What is fair to the county and to the applicants, and we are suggesting that this board, the Development Review Committee, limit the number of extensions for applications to 6 months. So it would be 6 monthly extensions. We thought that gives, that's fair, gives enough time for a developer and applicant to obtain the necessary plans, documents, approvals, permits, whatever is needed to make it a complete application for the county's review. And that at the end of that 6-month period, the applicant would be asked to withdraw without prejudice, and the fees would be credited towards the application once it is resubmitted. So that's what's in the resolution. That would be the policy that we're proposing. There are likely will be exceptions to that on occasion, and so we put in a clause at the end of the resolution. Exceptions would be considered on a case-by-case basis, but the burden is on the applicant to demonstrate that the exception is merited. So that's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there any questions for the planning director on the proposed resolution? If I understand you correctly, it seems that this will increase efficiency and reduce liability.
Right.
Just to put a historical perspective on it, it did occur one time, around 20 years ago probably, where someone was under the radar screen and it had to be deemed approved. I don't know that it was significant, but it was a problem at the time, and just requires a lot of unnecessary vigilance. Something keeps getting repeated over and over again. So this is pretty sound policy.
So when it's a one 6-month extension, is that how that works? Or
No,
6-month
it would be
extension?
up to 6 extensions, 6 monthly extensions.
Got it.
We can only extend it for 30 days
Got
each time.
If there's no other questions, I'll ask the secretary to read the resolution for consideration, and then we'll have a vote.
Whereas the Middlesex County Planning Board vests its powers to review site plans and subdivisions to a development review committee as created by the site plan and subdivision resolutions in accordance with NJSA 4027-6.8. And whereas the development review committee frequently considers requests from county staff and applicants to defer a decision on an application, the action is known as granting an extension to a subsequent meeting. The extension allows the applicant additional time to provide plans, documents, or other information in support of the application. And whereas site plan and subdivision applicants have requested month-to-month extensions for up to 1 and 2 years, requiring staff to continue to process the applications on a monthly basis. Example, to obtain recurring extension requests and distribute the associated DRC and letter when an application is extended. And whereas in the event a requested extension is overlooked and the Development Review Committee does not take action on the application could be considered approved by default in accordance with the County Enabling Act, NJSA 4027-6.7. And whereas minimizing the number of monthly extensions for an application will reduce time-consuming management of the application and avoid the risk of an application being approved by default. Now therefore be it resolved that the Middlesex County Planning Board limit future extensions of site plan and subdivisions to 6 months, after which time the applicant would be asked to withdraw the application without prejudice, and the fees will be credited towards the eventual resubmission of the application. Exceptions to this policy would be considered on a case-by-case basis. The burden will be on the applicant to demonstrate to the county that an exception to this policy is merited.
Let me just say, Commissioner
Director Rios asked me a good question in the interim, and I just want to explain it in case anybody has a similar question. Obviously, the resolution is pretty self-explanatory, but the question was, what occurs if we request that they do this and they don't do that? And the answer is going to be, my recommendation is going to be that we deny the application without prejudice and allow them to bring it back again. The rare exceptions example would be the application is essentially ready to go and they're going to run out of that 6-month time. So by giving them an extra month, instead of having to withdraw it with the application, it makes more sense economically to do it that way. So that's the reason it's worded this way. My position is that we're going to, in those rare cases, just deny them without prejudice and let them essentially reapply. The fees will be held. They won't. I don't think the staff will have to redo all the same work again. They're just kind of frozen in place.
And that's similar to how we process applications now. There are occasions where the county is requesting the developer an extension because the county is looking for information so that it can make an informed decision, and the developer might be reluctant to grant the extension. And we have to tell them, we need the information. We have to make an informed decision. If you don't provide the extension, we'll have to deny it, disapprove the application. So, I mean, and we have not had to do that in years. So, but so it's a similar policy.
Well, yeah, normally when we tell them that we're going to deny the application as being incomplete, they ask for the extension.
Right, that's right.
Would this apply for new applications or existing applications? I'm thinking like the Greens at Old Bridge, for example. I mean, how many times have they been extended, right? So is this for new applications, or would this policy apply for?
That's a really good question, and I think the policy is effective as soon as this board approves it, if you in fact approve it. So it's effective immediately, but it's not retroactively as much as I would like it to be. So the one you mentioned has been extended for a year now, and so I guess it will be a year and 6 months, if that's what they need.
So that being said, I will make a motion to adopt the policy.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 2024-10. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I think you have to make a point of order, Mr. Chairman. I think you have to make a roll call.
Yeah.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, we have a roll call.
Jason Friedman,
Yes.
Commissioner Director Ronald Rios,
Yes.
George Fallon,
Yes.
Lamont Patel,
Yes.
Michael Kobasowski,
Yes.
Stephanie Kim Chohan,
Yes.
Saket Chagalovato,
Yes.
alternate Gail Lala.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum. The alternates are eligible to vote today.
And
And yes, the motion passed.
thank you very much. At this point, we have our Development Review Committee report.
I'm Principal Planner Alex Okriski, reporting on the Development Activity Report for October 2024. As you will note in Table 1, on the last page of your packet, there were 21 applications before the Development Review Committee in October, the highest number since August. These applications included 5 site plans, 2 minor subdivisions, 2 preliminary subdivisions, 2 final subdivisions, and 10 extensions. Table 2 in your packet highlights development activity for approved or conditionally approved applications. As you can see, there were 2 residential and 6 non-residential lots approved in October. Also approved were site plans that created 5,400 square feet of commercial space, 6,035 square feet of mixed-use commercial space, and 44,145 square feet of public and quasi-public space. Table 3 highlights some of the larger applications in October, which include the Avenel Veterans Development, consisting of a 60-unit apartment building, the 44,145 square foot PMPH Cancer Center and Imaging Center in Plainsboro, and the amended Vermella, New Brunswick proposal that demolishes and renews the On the Border restaurant on Route 1 North. Table 4 indicates that there was one exempt site plan application in October, including an 8-unit apartment building. Unless there are any questions, I conclude the development activity report for October 2024.
Thank you. Any questions before we move to the report? If not, motions in order to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve the Development Review Committee report. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we have Middlesex County Vision Zero presentation today presented by Michael Danmiller, supervising engineer.
Come up and I'll just say a few words. And then, so for our IT friends in the back, you can show this. That's great. You can just sit on this for a second. So board members, for those of you who are new to Vision Zero, it's a strategy to eliminate all traffic fatalities and serious injuries to zero, right? While at the same time increasing safe and equitable mobility for our travelers. The Middlesex County Board of Commissioners had the wisdom in 2022 to launch the Vision Zero program and to address the increasing number of crashes on roads within the county. In July of that year, the commissioners authorized the preparation of the Vision Zero Action Plan, and which would help guide future policies, activities, and road projects to help achieve the Vision Zero by 2040. The Office of Planning spearheaded the action plan, which was completed in the fall of 2022. In 2023, the county spent much of its time collecting data, meeting with stakeholders, and getting organized. And then beginning this year in 2024, the Department of Transportation, as well as other county departments and offices, and our stakeholders have been meeting and starting to implement programs, road projects to get us on the path to zero fatalities and serious injuries. So that is to say, it's a long journey. It takes a village, and we've taken a multi-pronged approach to it. And so I'm just going to turn this over to Mike Danmiller, our supervising engineer, to give you a snapshot of what the county's been doing. Mike?
Thank you, Linda. I can cut my presentation in half.
It did not.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Mike Danmiller, our supervising engineer in the Office of Planning. And as Linda said, 2022, we adopted, we prepared, and you all adopted the Vision Zero Action Plan. That really laid the foundation for all of the work that we've been doing within Transportation Mobility Group and across, and we participate and collaborate with many of the groups, both across DOT and across Middlesex County. It's a living document. It was adopted, but it is something that we continue to update, and I'll detail a little bit that as I go forward. Then moving forward, we will be updating our high injury network map, which I'll talk about, and our project lists annually. High injury network. And we mapped throughout the county where most of the crashes happen. The map that you see there, I know it's very small, but I think you can get the gist of it, that we have county roadways across the county that have more than average fatalities and serious injuries. And we know that those are places where we want to prioritize investment. How we're doing that? Well, part of that is first take a look at the data. We're digesting and finding better ways to share insight about data. Data with no context isn't so helpful when we're able to map it. And all those dots, those are places where we've had fatalities over the, or serious injury crashes over the years, and we see trends. Being able to interpret that in a context that is comparable against other places in the country requires looking at it, not just hard number. How many fatalities happened? Well, if you can normalize that based on how many fatalities, based on vehicle miles traveled, or based on population, then you can actually compare against other locations in the state, in the country. If all you have is a hard number, of course it sounds hard, but giving it context as other public agencies across the country, across the world, normalize based on either how much vehicles are traveling or on population of that area, then you can get a reality check because otherwise it just looks horrible all the time. That's a bit of background. Now I'll go over very quickly 5 elements of what we're doing. And you say, okay, well, what have you been doing? Here's what we've been doing. As I just mentioned, we're working with county prosecutors, and they update fatality information daily. Daily is a whole lot. Every week, we update our statistics, such as we know last week, there was a gentleman who was walking along Plainfield Avenue and tried to cross Route 1. Happened to be at 4 in the morning. He didn't make it across the road. There was a fatality on one of our county roads as it crosses a state system road at 4 in the morning. But we look at this week by week by week. And we look hard at these and we dive deeper into the data, not just where, but why, how. And that allows us to put together potential safety countermeasures as approved by Federal Highway Administration. You know, that's our starting point. Say, okay, what can we do to do something about this? Let me talk more about that. Development review is one of our opportunistic opportunities for making changes. Sure, we take a look at our high injury network, but anywhere that there's a development application, we take a look at both our complete streets approach, meaning streets should be designed to be safe, convenient, and accessible for everyone, and FHWA's safe system approach. And with that in mind, we identify proven safety countermeasures to move forward. And if we can get developers to be on the hook to help us as they want to do some kind of development, if we can get them to advance and construct improvements that will enhance safety. And it goes from anything from signs and striping to the simplest of pedestrian safety and features is build sidewalks. We've got a developing right-of-way plan that says, hey, where do we want to put sidewalks? There'd be one side, 2 sides. And having that in hand, even if it's a work in progress, allows us to have those conversations. This really is supported by what we have initiated is an internal pipeline for new projects. That is, off the bat, it is responsive to public input. You know, weekly, we work with public and government affairs, and we hear, we in planning and engineering, hear of any complaints or questions, or, hey, there's a spot here, it seems tricky to cross the road. Is there something you could do about it? And yes, that is something we do. We have success examples across the county. Cranberry asked, can we help them implement their bicycle plan? When we were doing paving, we took a look at the roads. Old Trenton Road was a good example. We got bike lanes installed basically for no dollars because we did it opportunistically when the road was repaved. You had a blank canvas, wide open roadway, and we had the space. It wasn't a magic wand. In that example, Old Trenton Road was wide enough to fit bike lanes. That's what their plan called for. We took a hard look at it and said, yes, that's something we could do. And when we put the striping back, it went in. Doing it that way, it basically gets done for the cost of a couple of signs. The paint was going to go back anyway. That's a great example, but we've got several others. We can also talk about road safety audits. We've mentioned that a few times in my monthly updates. I've said how we're doing those. We have 5 underway right now. Road safety audits is a proven process for holistically working with the community and a broad range of stakeholders to take a look at the existing conditions and define what problems are and what potential solutions might be. You know, that is what we use when moving forward. You know, our 2 examples we've mentioned a couple of times. Our NJTPA gave us design and construction money for Perth Amboy, that's Smith Street, Perth Amboy, and Stelton Road in Piscataway. Between them, $16, $17 million. And it's real money that's coming in, and our application in that competitive process was successful partly because of our inclusive process from the get-go. And that's why we're continuing to do that and doing more now. making sure that we're being as inclusive as possible moving forward. Fourth thing, culture of safety. How do you develop a culture for safety is broad, and we're working with our transportation management agency, Keep Middlesex Moving. They're really the specialists on education campaigns, so we're working with them. And Linda and I meet with them, going over what their work plan is going to be, and see where we can collaborate. And that can really amplify the work that each of us are doing. We have interdepartmental programs. We're working with public safety and health on their traffic safety program, where they reach out to young drivers, high school students, and you may see videos in the outreach campaigns. You see the kids in the golf carts with the goggles that are smeared, so it replicates impaired driving. And they try and operate an obstacle course in that condition, and that can be a real world, hopefully reality check on, hey, you gotta be safe when driving. Fifth thing, partnerships. We will be expanding and building on the Vision Zero partnership. It's been a while since we've met. We're going to expand on it. And real time, it's been a couple of weeks since we, a group of us in planning, met with the traffic safety specialists over at Jersey DOT, the Department of Transportation for the state. Just so we know what they're doing, they know what we're doing, and we can collaborate and move forward. We're working with other offices, and we are working with our municipalities. So we're all on the same page. This is how, and all of these come out of, and I'll reiterate again, our Vision Zero action plan. It set the groundwork, it's a living document. There's many, many rows of projects, and we've got more than 30 in process right now, moving forward, and some of them I've just touched on. So that's a satellite level overview about Vision Zero. And Linda set the stage, gave a big picture of, we just want to get fewer people hurt on our roads. And our vision is to get no people hurt on our roads. And whether you're using DOT's towards zero deaths or our Vision Zero, and it goes by any other name, is going to help us keep people safe on our roadways. So with that, I'm entertaining any questions.
I'd just like to say, oh, I'm sorry. I would just like to say that this is like you said, it's a living document. It takes a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of partners that are involved with this. I want to commend you and your team for putting this together. And I know it's not easy. And like you said, you're working with other entities. And I look forward to seeing, a better numbers all the time. God willing, we do have those better numbers, but it's a work in progress.
I look forward to being able to show you none.
Yeah.
I'd love to show you
I'd
zero.
love to see that, yeah. Thank you, all of you that were involved in this, because it's not easy and it's a long time coming.
Questions, comments on Vision Zero for Mr. Danilo? One thing that comes to mind, this seems to be, the plan seems to be looking mostly long-term, down the road. Is there anything happening now that you can expand on or tell us about, or details that are happening currently in your office or that you're aware of?
Sure. I'm really looking forward to some of the bigger picture items, but some of the stuff I'm most proud of is calls come into public government affairs and they say, there's a bus stop. We're anxious about this. Is there something you need to do to make this more safe? And got a call on about an intersection in North Brunswick at River Road and Main Street. We worked together with engineering, we came up with the concept, and we got signs put in the ground before school started. Crossing complaint came in between the senior center and across County Road, across New Brunswick Ave in Perth Amboy. There's a McDonald's on the other side of the street, okay? But that's a subtlety, but they said, is there something you can do to make this intersection safer? We took a look at high visibility crosswalks, potentially stripe curb extensions, warning signs. Out of the 4 required, and 1 had gotten knocked down or was missing, we're putting in the 4th, and if the municipality will put in a cost-sharing agreement. We're looking at one of those highly active rectangular rapid flash beacons, the ones with the rectangular lights that go flash, flash, flash. And they don't go 24/7, just when someone is actively trying to cross the roadway. So, I mean, things like that, we're doing. We're moving and grooving and getting done what we can immediately and making our transportation network safer for everybody who's using it, not just long-term, but real-time.
Very good. Any other questions, comments for Mr. Danilo?
I had a comment. Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but the overwhelming majority of the cause of crashes is distracted driving.
Absolutely.
That's correct. So it's, we're not talking about, we're not talking about unsafe roads as much as we are talking about unsafe drivers. And so Mike showed you the slide of Keep Middlesex Moving. The KMM is our Transit Management Association that we're a kind of a sister organization. And they launched the Vision Zero program this year after we met with them, and they're starting to do the education and training. They work a lot with children in schools because a lot of this is texting while driving, and other reasons. And so I just wanted to say it's been really important working with them and other organizations to get at that, the cause of the distracted driving, because that's what's really killing us. So.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Mike and I work very closely together, so it's not just the ideas we're getting. I think we've had some successes in getting stuff actually implemented pretty quickly, Mike. So we work very closely together. So it's not just pie in the sky stuff. One other thing I thought I should tell you, or I thought I should mention, is there's an initiative now we're working with Rutgers University and Iteris. So Mike uses a lot of crash data, which statistically we don't have a lot of fatalities, and I'll just say that. But we have in our kind of arsenal to look at potential crashes. And Iteris, we're working with our Iteris to look at potential crashes, and they have metrics for that. And we can gather a lot more data with that and look at potential crash locations and where we can fix things. So that's really exciting. That's something it's a new technology we're implementing in the city of New Brunswick, again, working with Rutgers University and Iteris. We're going to be looking to deploy these systems throughout the county and our traffic signals, so we can identify not just where crashes occur, but where potential crashes are occurring. Because it's this close, crash occurs, you're not much off from a fatality compared to a serious injury. So we think this has a lot of promise, and we're really excited. This is something we're rolling out fairly soon. We're excited.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Danilo? Thank you much.
I know you're looking at me.
You always have a question.
No, it was comprehensive. It was thorough. I enjoyed the presentation, so I guess in typical fashion, I noticed that most of the potential roads in the study are most of state, like state highway Route 1. So I think, are you noticing any impediments towards planning of implementation due to who has the ownership?
So I'll throw out a couple anecdotes there. Yes, the majority, more than half of the fatal crashes that happen in Middlesex County are on state roadways. And that includes Turnpike, Parkway, 287, but also 1, 9, all the state system roads. So yes, they're heavily represented, and we are working with state DOT and from their major projects like the Route 1 North bridge replacement to anything else we can have input. Much like we generally won't make improvements on our roads until municipalities chime in. Thankfully, NJDOT allows us to chime in on what they're doing. And that's both on physical things and working with state police or county sheriffs on enforcement activities as well. So thankfully, we are opening those dialogues and making sure that we're all talking together. Because we all have the same goal in mind, just keep people safe.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much for your presentation. Public safety always of paramount importance to any public body. At this point in the agenda, the meeting is open for the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak, please approach the podium, state your name, address, and you do have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Planning Board. My name is Charlie Cradaville. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today, resident of New Brunswick. Appreciate the opportunity to address you today. I wanted to start with just bringing up an issue I think I brought up here before. I'm fortunately able to be here today with my camera, record the meeting. We'll put it on the New Brunswick Today YouTube channel later today. But I wanted to ask why the board doesn't record the meeting. There's a lot of good information covered today. Obviously, the room is already equipped with cameras, and the county commissioners do record their meetings. I feel at a minimum, the planning board ought to record and proactively publish the recordings of its meetings. Is that something that you would consider?
Thank you for your question. I would point out that we do record the goings on here by virtue of the minutes that the board produces on a monthly basis. Beyond that, I can say we'll give it some consideration.
Great. Thanks. And I would also hope that you'll consider allowing remote access by Zoom or similar platform. I know at least one time your attorney was able to join via Zoom, and I don't see what's stopping the board from using that technology to invite the public to participate, even if they can't make it to downtown New Brunswick at 3:15 on a weekday. And to that point, I would also ask you to consider holding the meetings at times that are more convenient for the public. I wanted to ask about the promised roundtables. Have there been any roundtables scheduled? Any of those held?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'll note that the county abolished the Transportation Coordinating Committee. Keep Middlesex Moving does not allow the public to attend their board meetings, and these roundtables have not materialized yet, so this is really one of the only avenues that the public has to speak about transportation issues in a public meeting setting. And I still don't agree with the decision to abolish the Transportation Coordinating Committee, and I continue to be concerned that we're not creating the space for more public input. And I'll be frank, if you continue to have the meetings at 3:15 on weekdays, you will be cursed to have me as probably the only public member. And I want other people, I want to hear other voices too, and I'm sure you do too. I'm glad to hear the presentation from Mr. Dan Miller. I'm also glad to hear Route 1 come up in that context. I do have a document for the board. I have enough for the commissioners at least.
Sorry, what is this document that you?
This is similar to the documents I've given you in the past. This is the list of the fatal crashes in the county, and so, as was covered in the presentation, 54 fatalities and 48 crashes here in Middlesex County, and I want to note that 10 of those deaths and 8 of those crashes were on State Highway 1, and I agree, not every crash is the result of road design, but we certainly can identify this as a trend, a really problematic roadway in our county. And it was alluded to in the presentation, or at least in the Q&A following the presentation, that there are plans to replace the bridge connecting New Brunswick and Edison, Route 1 North Bridge. And I'm concerned about what I've heard about the project, that it would expand the capacity, that it would add a lane. And I haven't heard anything about any improvements for pedestrians or cyclists that want to use that same route to cross the bridge. And so I would ask if the county has a position on it. It sounds like there's already been some dialogue between the state and the county. Can perhaps Mr. Dan Miller or somebody else who's in the loop tell us what the county's position is on this project and whether any of my concerns are shared?
So anybody, I do recall you bringing that up 2 months ago. Is
So-
anybody willing to comment or able to comment on the design of that?
Right, so the county, the staff has obtained copies of the preliminary plans for the Route 1 Cookine Bridge improvements proposed by DOT, and they are under review right now. And we will share with you our comments after the review.
Okay, great. Yeah, I really think it's important to follow through with the complete streets policy, even when it is a major state highway, and that means incorporating, a path for pedestrians and cyclists that's going to be safe. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of fatalities at some of these crossings further into Edison, but we also did have one fatality on that approach to that very bridge this year. And so, anything we can do to make it safer, we should do, but we should be careful not to, give the green light to things that might make it more dangerous. And so I hope that you'll, continue to keep an eye on that, and if necessary, push back on what the DOT wants to do, because we're the ones who has to live with the consequences here in New Brunswick and Edison. And unfortunately, far too many lives lost this year. I hope that you'll do what you can to make Route 1 safer, and I do appreciate you hearing me out today and answering my questions.
Thank you for your time. Never heard it to have you here. Is there any other member of the public wishing to comment?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public portion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point in the meeting, we are at adjournment. I would, although I missed the opportunity during moments of silence, I would remind everybody that we are one day past Veterans Day and happily maybe 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. So please remember to keep those folks in mind who have made sacrifices for this country, and keep those friends and family close to you as we move towards the Thanksgiving holiday. And now we are at adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.